at the forefront of politics.
Our enemy is Trump. He is the enemy. We gotta unite. If we're not a united party, we lose to Trump.
On the front lines of activism.
There's certain fights, if we don't engage, they win. This is a fundamental question of who we are.
And delivering your daily dose of comedy.
Donald Trump, when he had his physical, they had his blood pressure, and mine is higher than his. Oh. And the irony is mine is higher because of him.
From the blue wave.
We flipped. Enough seats to take control of the House. We control the House.
To 2020 and beyond. This is the Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Progress, Channel 127.
And welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live right here Thursday, May 23rd. My brothers and sisters of the resistance. I'm Dean Obeidallah, of course, hoping to be your MBFF. That's my dream. Neediest Muslim you'll ever meet. That's me. I might not be the best Muslim, but I am the neediest. I've got that title. No one can dispute it. So there I am on Twitter waiting for you, at Dean Obeidallah. Or drop me an email, dean@deanofradio.com. Or if you like to watch the monologues of just listening or watch guests when we're in studio, go to facebook.com/deanofradio. So, lot to cover. Got a lot of great guests, 2 members of Congress joining us. 2 quick numbers, 256. 256, that's how many days to the Iowa caucus. That's a somewhat important day for us as Democrats. But the biggest number, of course, 530. 530, that's how many days until Judgment Day. Till November 3rd, 2020. Judgment Day, I will not count it down daily. Maybe once a week, I'll throw that number out there as we get closer. Maybe once every couple of weeks, then once a week, and then daily as we get really close to that Judgment Day. So, first, we need a little humor. Colbert was on last night and had some fun with the Pelosi smackdown of Donald Trump and Donald Trump's meltdown because the orange-haired White Walker just couldn't take it. Little snowflake. Couldn't take it. A lot of pain. He's crying. Little safe space in his office there. There's a little hands wrapped around the remote control. I just want Fox News on. All right, here's Colbert on Trump walking out of the meeting. Clip number 1, please.
Pelosi and Chuck Schumer headed over to the White House for a pre-scheduled meeting on their infrastructure deal. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month, the Democrats proposed $1 trillion infrastructure deal, and Trump said, "Why not $2 trillion?" So they said, okay. Today was just supposed to be hammering out the details and then Venmoing the cash with a little bridge emoji or something like that. Didn't work out that way. According to people in the room, Trump walked in, didn't shake anyone's hand or take a seat, and left before anyone else could speak. All told, it was over in 3 minutes. According to Stormy Daniels, that's 2 bonus minutes. But
oh, come on. A little fun at Trump's expense. And then Colbert on Donald Trump defending his son, Don Jr. This really happened. It didn't make much press, but in that press conference yesterday, that meandering mess, there was Donald Trump defending his son, Donald Jr. And Don Jr. might be the only person in America less likable than Donald Trump. And it's a quick joke. Here's clip number 2.
the president also defended his son, who has been subpoenaed by the Senate.
My son, Don, who's a good young man, who's gone through hell.
I mean, he had me as a father. That could not have been easy.
Quick zinger. And the last thing, and it helps us get into what we're going to talk about at the top here, is Nancy Pelosi not only getting the best of Trump, not only triggering Trump, but today, I'll play some clips from a press conference. Not only did she again trigger Trump, but she's inching closer to an impeachment inquiry, it seems. She's at least setting out the parameters. She had not done that before. And I think, looking at it, she's reeling in Trump like someone on a fishing line, like a long fit, little by little by little, as opposed to what I want. I'm like, throw him in the boat now. She's like, nope, we're going to take our time with that fish. And so here's Colbert on Pelosi slamming Trump after the meeting, clip number 3.
It was the Democrats' turn to have a press conference, and Nancy Pelosi called Trump out for not having what it takes to get a deal done.
We had hoped that we could give this president an opportunity to have a signature infrastructure initiative to create jobs, to improve the quality of life, to just do so much for our country. For some reason, maybe it was lack of confidence on his part, that he really couldn't match the greatness of the challenge that we have.
questioning his confidence. It seems President Trump couldn't rise to the challenge of putting up long bridges and deep tunnels. It happens a lot to presidents his age.
Well, it continued today with Nancy Pelosi. Now, first of all, I have to play this clip because this is from Nancy Pelosi's press conference today. And it may have been the dumbest question by a reporter I've heard. And it's actually a respected reporter from NBC. But I'm stunned by this. And listen to the question. She literally asked Nancy Pelosi, like, are your words being too inflammatory? Do you think maybe you should rethink the words you choose so you don't trigger Donald Trump? Can you believe that? And here it is. I want you to hear it. Just stunning. This was the very first question at the presser today. Here's clip number 4.
Would you be prepared to change your rhetoric, given the political landscape, your understanding of the president's temperament? Your prayer comments almost suggest you're concerned about his well-being.
I am. And the well-being of the United States of America.
Would you be prepared to do something differently from the pragmatism of getting more done, to not use phrases like cover-up or to not perhaps provoke him? Would you be open to that?
Well, you have bought into his excuse.
No,
That was not a reason that he did that yesterday. That was an excuse for him to do that. And with all due respect to your question, I do not intend not to honor my oath of office, nor do my colleagues in the House of Representatives, to honor our oath of office to protect and defend the Constitution, which has a system of checks and balances, separation of power in it. And again, it's a question of the American people understanding that what he is doing is an assault on the Constitution of the United States.
She just dropped the mic and walked out there. Can you believe a reporter asking Nancy Pelosi, do you think maybe you could choose different words so you don't anger the orange White Walker in the White House? Are you kidding me? That's unreal. Donald Trump is there tweeting and maligning people left and right, and you're going to ask the speaker to clamp it down? That was an outrageous question. I was so angry. I was listening to it live. I'm like, why would you ever ask that? And I'm glad Speaker Pelosi's answer was great. And again, I like Speaker Pelosi. I compartmentalize things. There was one thing I don't like, that she's not doing impeachment inquiries sooner, but clearly she's getting there. And there is a plan here, a strategy, a genius, if you will. In fact, she called Trump today a stable genius. She even called, and I've got to play this short clip, she called for an intervention of Donald Trump. And this is the Speaker of the House. This is the third highest ranking person in the federal government calling for an intervention of the first highest ranking person. We'll jump down to clip number 6, please.
I pray for the President of the United States. I wish that his family or his administration or his staff would have an intervention for the good of the country.
I pray for the president. I don't think she's Sicilian. I'm not sure. But for Sicilians, like I'm half Sicilian. When we say things like that, we don't really mean it. Like, I'm not saying Pelosi doesn't. She might. But like we would say things like, God forbid he should go out in the street and get hit by a truck. God forbid. That would be the worst. I'm going to pray he doesn't get hit by a truck. That's a Sicilian threat. I don't think Speaker Pelosi is Sicilian. I think she's more Northern Italian. So I think she's being sincere. But here's the more substantive stuff. She was asked her point blank, her thoughts on an impeachment inquiry and where are we going with this. And I want to play this. And I think we are getting there. We're getting to a place where, again, to remind people, polls show 62 to 70% of the Democratic base want impeachment. And I think even more want an impeachment inquiry, because we had a caller last night who said, I don't want impeachment, but what's this impeachment inquiry? And when I explained it's just a series of hearings over a few months, and it doesn't mean you're going to have impeachment, she goes, oh, I want that too. I think of Democrats, if you ask them, do you want an impeachment inquiry? Not even impeachment. If you ask Democrats, do you want an impeachment inquiry, which would be a series of hearings over a few months? I think you'd probably get 90-something% say sure, because that's what the oversight thing is. But you have it under the guise of impeachment. It's more serious. The House has more power in invoking things, getting access to things. So here is Nancy Pelosi, a little bit longer answer on her thoughts on an impeachment inquiry. Here's clip number 5.
Yesterday you said that the president may have engaged in impeachable offenses.
Yeah.
Yet today you're saying you're not on a path to impeachment. Can you explain why you're opposed to launching an impeachment inquiry that many of your members want to do?
Let me be really very clear. The president's behavior in terms of his obstruction of justice, the things that he is doing, is very clear. It's in plain sight. It cannot be denied. Ignoring subpoenas, obstruction of justice. Yes, these could be impeachable offenses, but I intend not to, the three things. You might understand it better if you remember these three things. We want to follow the facts to get the truth to the American people. with a recognition, two, that no one is above the law, and three, that the president is engaged in a cover-up. And that is what my statement is. How we deal with it is a decision that our caucus makes, and our caucus is very much saying whatever we do, we need to be ready when we do it. And I do think that impeachment is a very divisive place to go in our country. And what we can get the facts to the American people through our investigation, it may take us to a place that is unavoidable in terms of impeachment.
It could take us to a place that's unavoidable in terms of impeachment. And we're getting there. And she's doing it in a very measured way. And maybe we live in a world, thanks to social media and everything else, so I want everything today. We all want things today. I still think you should start impeachment inquiry now, but still, I respect her a great deal, and I see what she's doing, and it's getting under Trump's skin so effectively. But what I'm confused about, and I really want your input on this, is that and I'll play a clip, and Congressman Claiborne, James Claiborne, one of the leading Democrats, said the same thing, that Donald Trump wants us to impeach him, that he wants us to impeach him, and we're not going to play into his hands. And I don't understand that argument. I don't get the argument he wants to be impeached. I get the victimhood stuff, but let's play the clips first, and I'll share my view on it, why I'm confused by that, and why I also think it's sort of an older time look at things, where you're like, I don't want to excite the other side base to come out and vote, as opposed to focusing on what animates our base. And I think that should be the metric. That should be the touchstone for decisions. Not, I don't want to piss off the other side. No. What's going to make our base come out? What's going to make us knock on doors and make phone calls and walk in the rain to register voters and make donations and get your friends to vote? What's going to do that? I think that should be the deciding factor for all of this, not what's going to get them going. And I think that's what she's concerned about. So let's play some clips of her, let her explain it. Here she is first on the idea that Trump wants us to impeach him. Clip number 7.
Because I said cover up. We've been saying cover up for a while. And our 9 o'clock meeting was a meeting we have anyway, so it had nothing to do with him. But I think what really got to him was these court cases and the fact that the House Democratic Caucus is not on a path to impeachment. And that's where he wants us to be. And when he saw that that was not happening, that, again, with the cover up, which he understands is true, just struck a chord.
So there she is saying he wants that Trump actually was upset on yesterday because the Democrats did not come out and demand impeachment. Now, that could be her framing in a way to get other Democrats on board who might not be and go, the idea that he wants impeachment so bad so we can't give him what he wants. And the reason he lashed out is because he was so upset that we did not talk about impeachment. I'm not buying that part. And then she reiterated. Here's another short clip number 8.
There's no question. The White House is just crying out for impeachment. That's why he flipped yesterday, because he was hoping, because he was, somehow or other, you all have a story that isn't real. I mean, you want to believe that there's all this unease in our caucus. That simply isn't the truth. We have respect for the diversity of opinion in our caucus. And I say to the caucus, our diversity is our strength. Our unity is our power. And we have unity in our caucus. And so when he saw that, see, he's saying, oh, you called that meeting at 9 o'clock? No, we have the meeting, Mr. President. It's not about you.
So she's reiterating it there, that the White House wants impeachment so badly. And I could see that, that would make sense. And I want to share, because I love polls, why I don't think that's accurate. And I could be wrong. We don't know. We don't know until after Election Day, frankly. It's like, till the autopsy. Like, well, that did kill him. You should have known that one. I didn't know that. And if Trump, among the GOP base, only had 60 or 70% support, or even 50% support, I could see impeachment rallying the rest of the GOP base around him. And they go, oh my God, look, I don't like this guy Trump, but look what these Democrats are doing. This is so unfair. But in reality, as we know, because Trump tells us and the polls bear it out, he has support around 88 to 90% of the GOP base. So that 10% that's holding out and not supporting Trump now, I don't think they're going to rally around him. I think those are the never Trumpers who are still Republicans and don't like the guy. I think everyone else who can tolerate him is on board. So I could see that argument that Speaker Pelosi is making being much more accurate and much more persuasive to me if he had a low support among the GOP. He doesn't. He has really high support among the GOP. And I want to go to the flip side here. And I really want For so many years, it's not about Speaker Pelosi. We've heard this from Democrats. I've heard it from pundits. I've heard it from friends who are Democrats who work on campaigns. We don't want to anger the other side. If you do that, you're going to piss off the other side so much. And they're going to come out in big numbers and everything like that. They're going to come out anyway. Why isn't the decision, when all things are equal, if things are equal, like what are we going to do one way or the other? Why isn't the deciding thing? What is going to get the Democrats to come out and vote? What's going to animate you and me? What's going to make us excited to vote for a candidate and work for the Democratic Party from the top of the ticket down to the bottom of the ticket? Why is that not the deciding factor? Because I really don't think I think Speaker Pelosi is playing games with us a little bit here. I think she's saying that Trump wants it. I don't think it really helps him. I think she's worried that it brings his base out because victimhood does play for the right really well. I mean, victimhood is their currency. They love that. Cruelty and victimhood. They're always victims. But Trump's got the entire GOP base. And every poll, again, shows 62 to 70%, every poll I've seen of Democrats asking, do you want impeachment of Trump? And I believe that number goes way up. If one pollster would please ask the question, do you support an impeachment inquiry of Trump? I think it goes to 90% of Democrats. So shouldn't the metric be going forward? And this is not at all attacking Speaker Pelosi. I'm just saying in general from our Democratic leaders, because as the grassroots, I think we have to lead. We led in 2018. Let's be blunt. We led in 2018. These victories around the nation in House districts were because people knocked on doors and really progressive people voted for moderate Democrats because there were swing districts. We were pragmatic. We won. We led. I think, in a way, the leadership has to learn a little bit about that you should at least listen to the base. If 62 to 70% of the GOP base wanted something, do you think that Republican leadership would ignore it? I don't believe they would. They're all about red meat. And in this case, we're not doing red meat for red meat's sake. We're doing it because our Constitution, I believe, and I've said this from day one, demands it. And even if it's not good politics, I think you've got to do it. Even if it meant Trump got reelected, I would hate that. But we would fight the next 4 years. But are you going to say a guy can work with the Russians, openly accept their help, ask for their help, have their son meet with them, and then afterwards obstruct an investigation in numerous ways? From witness intimidation to telling Manafort and Michael Cohen, play ball with me and essentially don't testify against me. And the idea of the campaign finance fraud, which is not even being talked about anymore, but it's here in the Southern District of New York where Michael Cohen testified under oath that Donald Trump directed him to violate federal election campaign finance laws, which are a felony. Don't listen to Trump. I'm telling you as a lawyer, it's a felony to violate the campaign finance laws the way they did. They willfully and knowingly violated the laws to keep information from the American public in the closing days of the election that Donald Trump not just had an affair, but what would have happened if we heard about that affair with Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal? I think the more painful part for Trump is that we would have learned the timing. And that affair happened a short time after his wife delivered their baby. And I think for the 53% of white women who supported Trump, maybe some of them, that would have caused pause. Maybe. I'm not sure. But that's one of the scummiest, despicable things you can do to your wife is cheat on her after she's had the baby for you. She had a baby, and countless friends who've had babies, and women have talked about not feeling the best about themselves at that time and feeling vulnerable. And there's your husband out cheating on you with 2 different women. And if that was the headlines, because that's what it would have been, and Trump knew that, he was smart enough to pay off Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal and keep that from the American public. All that together. If you do not impeach Donald Trump, you're telling the next person, whoever sits in that office, they can do all of this and it's all fine. And is that okay with you? Because if it is, then let's just move on. But it's not okay with me. And I think it can't be okay with anyone. It just is obviously wrong. So that's where I'm thinking, why do you think Speaker Pelosi is saying what she's doing? Do you think it's really because she thinks it's going to help Donald Trump? And do you think that? Do you subscribe to that view that it will rally his base more than our base if we do an impeachment inquiry? Just the inquiry. No one's asking for a vote. I'd love to hear from you. You're my guest right to the top of the hour. 866-997-4748. Be right back after this. At this point, the question is not who connected to Donald Trump as a criminal. The question is anyone connected to Donald Trump who's not a criminal?